Harrison Brunicke's got no right to expect being in the NHL as a teenager, but he just might be. Good morning to you. Good Thursday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. The Penguins are in Columbus tonight to face the Blue Jackets. Penultimate preseason game at Nationwide Arena. Another one the following night at PPG Paints Arena. And then it's the main event next Wednesday against the Rangers. And it's possible, though I don't know that I'd quite yet call it probable, that Brunicke will not only be on the roster, but also on the ice. See, if you're one of those hockey wackos, and I happen to consider myself one, so don't think of it as a knock, then you'll have noticed not only that Brunicke, the team's top pick in this summer's NHL draft, has performed really, really well and miles above his years when it comes to maturity, poise, confidence, IQ, all of that stuff. But you'll also have noticed that he's been skating in what should be and ultimately will be Erik Karlsson's spot next to Marcus Pettersson. That's not the sort of thing coaches do accidentally a handful of days before their season opener. Karlsson's back on the ice skating, and Mike Sullivan insists that he should be ready for the opener. But I'm the one hemming here, not Sullivan, in describing what he's saying because he just can't know that. Karlsson's next full practice of training camp will be his first. Wait, let me rephrase that. His next partial practice, his next anything other than skating independently will be his first. It's asking an awful lot to have him go out there against a division rival and, oh, by the way, to play the very next night in Detroit against a fast and more dangerous than they used to be group of Red Wings. That just might be the opening for Brunicke, who can stay in the NHL for 9 games before the Penguins either have to keep him here the whole year or, and this is what's going to happen, send him back to his junior team. And this, if you can recall other experiences in this category from the past, this is when it gets fun. This is when you get into your Oli Mata time, you know? This is when you get into this kid maybe going on the rink and just being outstanding. Not that he's going to take Karlsson's job. I'm not being an idiot, but he could find a way. Yeah, I'll stop right there. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Here's what's good, okay? Here's what's to be understood, I think. Brunicke has shown the Penguins something that even their amateur scouts who recommended him as their top pick could not have expected. Not this fast, no chance, no how. I want to give you a small example of this from the game I covered a couple nights ago. And yes, it's going to be the one you're thinking of, but not that part of the play, not the part where he got the puck down low from Evgeny Malkin and just kind of chipped it across the crease where Ricard Raquel could put it home for the Penguins' only goal that night. It was before that. It was back at the blue line, the attacking blue line. Brunicke had positioned outside the Detroit blue line a little bit, but he was kind of drifting forward. His feet don't stop moving, which, by the way, is something that Sullivan loves in a hockey player. Hates when they're idle, always talks about what he calls pace. So the puck just kind of pops loose from a little bit of a scrum inside the zone. Brunicke skates up to it, meaning obviously he enters the zone. But again, there's a scrum there. There's a pack of guys. He wants to make sure that he's doing what he's doing, being aggressive, but at the same time being smart. So in the same motion, and I might have a hard time painting this visual for you, so stick with me closely here. He skates forward to this puck And instead of just whacking it, instead of just, risking that it pops off somebody's shin pad and somebody goes skating the other direction, he elevates it a little bit. And in the same motion, his feet bring him to a hard stop that's so smooth that he glides backward. And I know what I'm describing is impossible, but he seems to glide backward even as he stops. The whole thing, the whole picture of it, the decision, the elevation, the awareness, the retreat, and then to sense enough of the overall ice surface to go in there and help Raquel get that goal. I asked Raquel about it. I asked Raquel about Brunicke's role in the whole sequence, and Raquel just said to me, he's just so smart, so smart. And when I brought up something about Brunicke's age, he said, doesn't matter. He's just so smart. So, if he gets to hang around for a little bit, even if it's just, for a couple weeks or whatever, consider that, and I mean this, a genuine victory for Kyle Dubas, Jason Spezza, their entire staff for producing a rare draft pick. And I don't mean for Pittsburgh, I mean anywhere, who isn't some high first rounder who can make this kind of an impression in his first NHL camp. When we come back, J1Q. Today's J1Q comes in response to yesterday's episode in which I focused almost entirely on Power Play 1, the new look that the Penguins have with the man advantage, with David Quinn now overseeing it. And a lot of that, as you heard Chris Letang explaining to me, was about utilizing the low ice, making sure that you're utilizing, Sidney Crosby and players like that you have there, to which Jack puts forth here as a J1Q. DK, to finish in the low ice areas, the Penguins are going to need players who are good at finishing in the low ice areas. I see Sid, and I see Michael Bunting. I don't see too many others. Drew O'Connor, Kevin Hayes, Lars Eller. There's a lot of different ways to define finishing in the low ice areas, Jack. If you're one of those people who goes way back in hockey and your first thought when it comes to a net front presence is like, oh man, I'm really going to throw one at you here. Like a Tim Kerr, remember him from the Flyers? Like a redwood tree that could not be moved. Or even, John LeClair from a later Flyers edition, Paul Gardner, if you want to go back in Pittsburgh history specifically. But more along the lines recently of a Patrick Hornqvist, someone who is just there to make the goaltender's life miserable, to set screens. Doesn't matter how much punishment he incurs, he's just gonna tough it out. That player, as I've been saying, is not on this roster. That player is not anywhere in this organization. And that player, I think, really shouldn't be manufactured as a result. I don't think you need to tell someone, hey, listen, we need a net front guy. You're it. Whereas you can do different things to try to create the same effect while also working within the concept of your overall power play. Example, the Penguins had an opportunity. This was in the third period, I want to say, against the Red Wings. Also a couple nights ago. And Chris Letang was the center point on the umbrella. Letang goes up the left side to Evgeny Malkin. Malkin kind of moves forward a little bit, and all you're thinking here is because it's Gino, he's going to find some way to just go backward or he's going to pass. And instead, he looks up and sees Brian Rust, who is not Tim Kerr, John LeClair, or Paul Gardner, even if somehow all three of them in their prime were combined into one individual. But he sees that Rust is blocking Ville Husso's view. So he says, all right, I'm just going to let it go. And he did, and it clanged off the far pipe. I mean, it clanged loud, too. It came that close to being a goal. So you got your net front guy, but you didn't. And what you have to kind of make up for that, you would hope, is a really good retrieval player, which, of course, Rust is. Rust is just good at everything. So which one is more valuable? Is it more valuable to have someone who can do both? We can debate that all day. I believe retrieval is going to be really important to this power play. I also believe that having not one, but two of these types kind of lurking, hanging around to the side of the goaltender, as well as timing, getting in front of him, that could be, if you do it well, just as effective and certainly a lot more effective than anything they were doing last season. I appreciate the question. Good one. Fair one. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Penguins. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.